I used to draw on myself all the time when I was younger. I think I was probably like 13, 14, and I went into class in the morning, and one of the other kids just like, man, those are really cool tattoos. Those are awesome. Where'd you get those? And I was like, these are Sharpie. I don't have any tattoos. He's just like, man, you should be a tattoo artist. You know what? I should. It's a good idea. My name is Adam Plain. I've been tattooing 7.5 years or so at this point, but it is hard to keep track. Since that day, it stuck with me and it was like, yeah, I should pursue that. And I went to so many different shops, and for a lot of the time, my art skills weren't up to snuff, or I wasn't persistent enough, and it took until I was in my mid to late 20s to finally just buckle down and not take no for an answer. I was a mechanical designer for years. I think 7 years or so. I was making 3D models and CAD drawings for conveyor systems and other like machinery and stuff. It was a good job, but I was never happy. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I will take happiness over stability any day without question. Like, my own day-to-day enjoyment of my life is very important to me. I thoroughly believe the most valuable resource we have is time, and if you spend it doing things that make you unhappy, you're wasting your life.
I've been drawing for forever. I guess there wasn't really a point where I just started showing interest in it. I think it was just something that I always had.
I'm Emma Lucas, and I've been tattooing for 2 years at Darker Days Tattoo.
I've always considered doing tattooing as a career, but I was actually I failed my art certificate at CNC the first time around. And then a few years later, I decided to go back to it. And one of the courses in it is making a living as an artist. And I realized when I was doing the essay that it's almost impossible to make a living as an artist. So one of the other options that I found was tattooing, which I've always considered, but didn't really want to give up painting full time because I really do enjoy oil painting. And then I saw Jeremy made a post on Facebook saying that they were looking for an apprentice. So one of my friends sent it to me, and that's how it started.
My dad, he let me and my siblings, there is 3 of us that shared a room. We were allowed to draw anywhere in our room. Doesn't matter if it was the walls, the ceiling, the bunk bed. He let us draw whatever we wanted. My uncle owned the house, so he didn't care that our drawings were in there. Our drawings are still in that room from when we were kids. It's a lot of abstract art there. My name's Emma Jane Cohen. I've been tattooing for almost 2 years now. I wouldn't be here co-owning without Emma Lucas and Adam Plain. I don't think I would have taken the step to co-own any point with that so early on in my career. With their help, kind of all put our heads together and put a shop together and keep it going. We kind of needed to. It was either co-own a shop and keep it going, or kind of scramble and find somewhere to work. So it just seemed like the right thing to do was just to carry on and keep the shop going.
Adam, I would say, has helped me a lot throughout my whole apprenticeship. He's always been kind of like a older brother, mentor through everything. So I'm super grateful for Adam. He's taught me a lot.
It's the responsibility of being an owner in the shop now, because it's not just me. Like, we're all in this together. So the motivation to get up and work every day is that much stronger. But the motivation to go home at the end of the day and then draw more to prepare, that all comes from knowing that there's somebody on the other end of the tattoo machine that's going to be wearing that design for the rest of their life. And if I slack off, I'm going to hate myself for it. Like, it has to be as best as it can possibly be every time. And if I'm doing any less, I'm failing.
I opened Sixes and Sevens on December 4th, 2023. Throughout my apprenticeship, people ask me this question all the time, if I would ever own my own shop, and I'd always say no. I always talked about how I wanted to have like a mobile bus one day, but that I never wanted to own my own shop. But after kind of bouncing around between a couple shops in town, and then doing a private studio downtown in another business, opening my own shop was the next step. My name is Amy Nix, and I'm the owner of Sixes and Sevens Studio Incorporated. I've been tattooing for 6 years full time, but I've been trying to tattoo for close to 11. I was always kind of like interested in art. I was pretty naturally good at it throughout high school, but I never really took it seriously. I was always told, you know, art's not really a career path, that's more of like a side hobby. And then, so it wasn't until later when I failed at becoming a veterinarian that somehow I decided that tattooing was going to be the answers. It was something I could do every day that I'd be happy doing and that I could support myself doing so, which was really important to me at the time. Did not want to have to rely on somebody else to pay my bills. I was living in Edmonton at the time, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and I don't even know how I came up with it, but I just somehow came to the realization that tattooing was going to be the answer to all my problems. And at the time, I honestly only had that one tattoo, my first tattoo. So when I moved back to Prince George, I tried to get an apprenticeship, couldn't find one, and then ended up taking the art program at CNC and got my art certificate and was accepted into Emily Carr and UVic. I was gonna go to Victoria and work towards a bachelor's degree of art, but then I got my first apprenticeship in town as I worked on my half sleeve on my left arm.
I have been interested in art since I was a child, so I think probably because it was something I could focus my attention on for a long period of time, get easily distracted by it, and I started drawing and painting when I was a child. And pretty much creating anything I possibly could. And when I was in my early teens, I worked for a local artist named Sharon Paul, who owned a greenhouse, and she taught me how to paint and draw as part of my payment for working there. My name is Katie Zammit. I've been tattooing for 14-ish years, and we opened the studio here a year ago as of February. When we decided to open this shop, I wanted everybody to be independent contractors because running a business is its own entity outside of tattooing. So also running a shop, it's nice to have somebody who will take care of the extra stuff, which my mother does, as she owns the business and we all subcontract under her. So she does all of the extra stuff that it makes it so that we can all focus on tattooing and doing the part that we're good at.
I started really late. I actually went to school, became a power engineer originally, and then my wife got accepted to BCIT, and I got sick of Netflix and video games and just needed something else to pass the time, and I tried drawing, and turns out it was a doable task for me. So just kind of picked drawing up maybe 6 years ago. So kind of right before I got an apprenticeship, I started drawing just because I couldn't do any more Netflix or video games at that time. When I started drawing, I honestly just copied a couple of comic book covers. I've always liked the style of comic book drawings with like the cross hatching and all that stuff. So I copied a comic book, showed a couple of my friends and family members, and they were like, wow, that's like really, really good. You should do something with art. And for me, I never thought you could make a career out of art. I thought I'd have to sell paintings in a museum or something along that line. And it was actually both my parents that said, well, no, like, why don't you try to pursue like becoming a tattoo artist? And they were the ones who kind of pointed me in that direction, and I kind of bounced the idea back and forth off of a few friends and my wife, and we just kind of all thought like, yeah, that'd probably be a cool little route to go down, and yeah, a little nerve-wracking, obviously, leaving a job that is paying very, very well to do something where it's up in the air all the time. But yeah, I couldn't be happier with the switch that I made.
I really enjoy doing flash days because I think it's a fun thing that happens in the community. And so you get clients who have come to you for a long time, and you get new clients who've never maybe been in your studio and want to see what it's all about. And we like to prepare multiple different pieces, so you have something that would take you 20 minutes to something that would take you an hour or two. So there's a wide variety of stuff that people can choose from.
So Flash, I think I should say, because some people just don't know, Flash is just pre-drawn designs. Sometimes when we do flash sales, people are like, oh, well, can I get this? It's like, no, it's just these pre-drawn designs. Yeah, and they are a lot of work to kind of organize and put together.
You can come down and you can see what's available. If there's an artist you really like that's working at the shop or the flash day or the event, you could try and get a tattoo with them instead of having to wait, because I know lots of us are pretty booked up.
The energy of flash days, it can be pretty fast-paced, but at the same time it's super chill. I find as long as I don't look at the list of sign-up people and I just focus on each tattoo, then it's just like every other day of tattooing. As soon as I get into my station, I can kind of zone out all of the lineup and designs.
I think that this last flash day was my third year of flash days. I don't know how many I've done, but they get easier every time. The first time was very stressful.
The key to these flash days is just don't look at the clock, don't look at the sign-up sheet. I just take them as they come.
It used to be intimidating. I know a lot of people in that situation would want to rush, but that's not how you do good tattoos. When I see the line, I know that everybody out there would rather have a good tattoo than a fast tattoo. So I take my time. I make sure that everyone's comfortable, that the tattoos are good, the lines are solid, and then if that person wants to come in and get it shaded or colored in later, then I'm not dealing with a mess I made a year ago because I was in a hurry.
With 5 artists in our studio, they get not only multiple different pieces from each artist, they have all of the 5 people's stuff to choose from, which gives people a good opportunity to get in for that day. And I think that there's so much excitement around it because we don't know how it's going to turn out.
Flash days are very up and down. It could be absolutely insane and hectic, or it could be very slow. It really depends. Obviously, some days are bigger than others. Like a Friday the 13th is always a busy day. Halloween tends to be a little bit of a busier time. If you have Christmas or anything like that, they definitely can be busy.
I think me going to the other shop and having other artists here is not seen a lot. I've seen it done in other cities. I've seen a shop in Calgary that does a big, huge fundraiser flash day, and they invite a bunch of artists. But generally, the flash days in PG are just that shop, and they don't really invite a ton of outside artists. Maybe if they've got a guest artist around. But I hope that kind of changes in the future, because I kind of do spending a day at another shop and hanging out.
It's not hard to bring Amy in. She's always great. Amy and I have been friends for years, so anytime we want to work together, it's yep, just come in, set your stuff up, we're all good. I know for some of the younger artists, the flash days are pretty hectic. They're a little more stressed out by it, but for me, I get so much energy from it. I just get all hyped up at the start of the day. I'm ready to do some tattoos, and I just keep that energy up and then collapse when I get home.
One of my favorite feedbacks from the artists that came up for the Valentine's Flash Day was that they forgot that they were getting paid because they were having so much fun. You know, when I was asking for their email to e-transfer them their money, they're like, oh, right, we get paid for this. It's that is an awesome compliment, and I'm so glad that's the environment that we had going that day.
Tattooing has changed a lot over the last 15 years that I've been involved in it, based on just the amount of people doing it, the access to information, the art form itself, people pushing boundaries, having a lot more people who are excited about it, and it's not as exclusive in the sense of there's not as much gatekeeping. And there's a really amazing community now based around sharing information with each other. And when I started, I think there was 3 or 4 other tattoo artists in Prince George, and now there's probably upwards of 70. I don't actually know how many people are here, but there's lots and lots of really great artists.
It's gotten a lot kinder. I mean, in tattoo years, I haven't been doing this for very long. There's plenty of like 20, 30-year veterans out there that know way more about the in-depth changes to the industry than I do. But from my perspective, it's gotten kinder, both to the artists, the apprentices, and to the clients in general.
The popularity of it and like how much more accepted it is. I still like warn people against just starting off with getting like tattoos that are in extremely visible places like your hands or your face or your neck, just because it can impede your ability to get jobs in the future, depending on the field you're wanting to go to. But overall, they are much more accepted and people generally want to kind of talk to you about your tattoos. You still do get some people that kind of look at you funny just because you have tattoos, but I think that's happening less and less.
The change in the art form and in the quality of the work coming out has more to do with social media and access to other artists' work and references and information. I think it's so much easier to talk to other artists and get that information if you're looking for it, where it used to be pretty closed off.
When you have a lot of people doing an art form, you don't get to just skate by. You have to push yourself, and I think that there was a lot of limitations in tattooing before because it was not necessarily always artists that were tattooing. It was replications and flash that had been used over and over again, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's kind of amazing. But I think now that there is so many different types of artists that transform their skills into tattooing, we get a lot more diversity in what's possible, and people are pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible and how it stays in the skin and the quality of pigments and the quality of supplies, and that has changed big time in the last 15 years, and it's pretty exciting.
Tattooing has become much more accessible to people. Like, people didn't really know what good tattoos looked like. They just go to their guy down the street that was doing it and pick something off the wall. But now with Ink Master and all the like tattoo fix-it cover-up shows and stuff, people actually like understand a little bit better of what's possible with tattoos. And even just the internet, like all these different ideas and styles and stuff are at your fingertips, whereas before you'd have to buy a magazine to even see what people were doing at conventions and things like that. Not every tattoo has to have a meaning, but they all have a story.
Most of the time, whenever I have somebody who's getting a first tattoo, it's normally something simple, it's something easy. I always hear people say, oh, it has to have meaning or it has to have significance to you. And the more and more that I've talked to people who have started off by getting tattoos, it always meant like you needed to have significance for a tattoo.
I feel like tattoos have meaning no matter whether or not it's intended. So like I said, it's like little mile markers. You'll remember who tattooed you or where you were living at the time or what music you were listening to or if you were seeing somebody, or so like everything ends up having value and memories and purpose on your body because you did it at a certain time. Maybe you went to a flash day with your friend and you got matching tattoos or whatnot. So everything always ends up having meaning, whether or not it's the intention or not.
Every tattoo has a story, but not every tattoo has a meaning. And the more you get tattoos, I feel like the reasons people get tattoos change. Generally, I see people, their first tattoo has to have a whole bunch of meaning, and then maybe the second and third one after that as well. It's got to have all this stuff incorporated. They think that if it means something, they'll never regret it, which also I don't think is true. But once you start getting lots of tattoos, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like, you just want tattoos because you like tattoos, and next thing you know, you see an artist that you really like that has some flash, and you're like, that's cool, I want that. And the story is they had flash and I wanted it, so I got it, or I went to Vegas and I wanted to get a tattoo, so I got it.
Usually people choose stuff that has more meaning at the beginning, and then they realize that sometimes packing all the meaning into stuff, it just happens naturally once you start choosing things you find exciting or attractive to put on your body.
The more tattoos you get, the less significance they kind of need to have. I think maybe long time ago, like, yeah, it would have been important for a bit of significance in a tattoo, just because in today's day and age, they're much more socially acceptable, which helps a lot. So I think that with a first-time client, like I'm just kind of there to listen. Like I want to give them exactly what they want. I know first-time tattoos, it can be nerve-wracking, it can be stressful if you're not sure what you want. Like, I'm definitely not shy to tell you if you have a bad idea. Good, bad, or ugly, I'd much rather have you hate me for a minute than hate me forever for giving you something that I knew was a bad idea and just did it for the money.
Number one thing, research your artist.
My advice would be to research your artist that you want to go to.
Do a little research and see what type of art and artists are out there.
Choose an artist that fits your vibe nicely.
And go to someone that you love everything that they do. So don't just go to any artist that's available at the time. Go to an artist that you love their work, you love their flash, you love their healed work.
Look at who you're going to get it from, the shop, look at their portfolio. No matter how simple your tattoo is, just do a little bit of research.
So that you can have the most trust in the person that's creating the art for you. And do a consultation. If you have any nerves, do a consultation and talk to the person and make sure that you get along and you can spend time with that person and that you feel comfortable saying what you need and they feel comfortable expressing to you what's going to work best as a tattoo.
So many people come in for their first tattoo and they're stressed out by it, or they're overwhelmed by everything that's going on in the shop, or they're just nervous because they've been looking at you as an artist for like years before getting the tattoo, right? But the most important thing, other than doing your research beforehand and making sure you pick a good artist, is to just like be cool, because this is a thing that we do every day. It's not as scary as it seems, and it's honestly, you walk out of it feeling better than you did going in most of the time.
Right now, I am taking my career one day at a time. 5-10 years, I still want to be working with the people that I really love and have my career like on path with. So me and Emma Lucas have always said we'd stay together. So that's a big part of my career goal, wherever that goes.
10 years down the road, I hope that I'm really good at color. I hope that my tattoos heal perfectly. That's about it. 10 years down the road, I hope that the shop is successful. I hope I'm successful. I hope that the healing and all my tattoos are perfect. You look at other tattoo artists that are 5-10 years in, and they definitely have a certain confidence and a certain level of knowledge that I'm very jealous of. So I'm excited to grow old in this job and be more experienced and better.
I just hope that the tattooers in Prince George, we can just like pull together as a community more. There is a lot of like internal drama between shops, which is a pretty normal thing that's always kind of existed. And I think we are slowly getting away from that, but there still is a lot of it. So I hope that, yeah, together we can just kind of like grow as a community.
I definitely want to like see the world. Both my wife and I were very adventurous. We want to get out there, we want to see things, we want to go places. So I think 5-10 years down the road, I think I'd kind of be more geared towards a traveling artist, going from show to show, just working on networking and meeting people. And I think that's honestly the best way of improving.
I'm living day by day, just trying to get better and learn more every day. So where I'm gonna go in 5 years, I hope it's just better and just an elaboration on what I've already done. I just want to build those skills up, meet world-class artists, learn from them. Like I want to be great. I'm not planning on having children. I'm not trying to build a legacy for myself outside of making great artwork. So it might take 5 years, might take 20.